Greetings, family, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. TM. I used to be an asylum applicant. After several years, my asylum application was approved. I am a United States citizen now. I am thrilled to welcome you to Asylum in America, a channel where your most pressing questions about the asylum process, green cards based on asylum, and citizenship based on asylum are answered. Family, I have spent over 12 years navigating the immigration system here in the United States. First, I spent several years battling my asylum case to be approved. Then, I spent several years more to get a green card based on approved asylum. And finally, I spent several years more fighting to obtain United States citizenship based on an approved asylum. I want you to know that I intimately understand the uncertainties and challenges you may face in your asylum journey here in the United States immigration system. The questions you have now are the same questions I used to have on my asylum journey. In each video, I draw from my extensive first-hand asylum immigration process experience to provide you with insights and guidance to help you. Family, like this video and subscribe to this channel for more exciting content. I have surrendered at the southern border and have been processed. Now what? When an asylum seeker is arrested at the southern border, it usually means they are apprehended by immigration authorities while attempting to enter the United States. The process can vary, but here's a general overview. Initial detention. The individual is initially detained by immigration officials, often by U.S. Customs and Border Protection (CBP) officers. Depending on what is happening with politics in Washington, sometimes asylum seekers detained at the border can be placed in expedited removal, which is an accelerated process that allows the Department of Homeland Security to perform rapid deportations. All asylum seekers are subject to expedited removal, regardless of whether they present themselves to immigration officials at a port of entry, or they are apprehended somewhere else near the border. Asylum seekers who have previously been removed from the United States because they received formal deportation orders are subject to reinstatement of removal. People subject to expedited removal or reinstatement of removal are normally processed for rapid deportation. However, if someone in either of these situations expresses a fear of returning to their countries, their rapid deportations are suspended. Those subject to expedited removal are detained and will receive credible fear interviews. On the other hand, those subject to reinstatement of removal are detained and will receive reasonable fear interviews. Screening and processing. The asylum seeker undergoes initial screening to determine their identity, nationality, and potential eligibility for asylum. This process may include interviews and background checks. Credible fear interview. If the individual expresses fear of persecution or harm in their home country, they may undergo a credible fear interview. This is an assessment to determine whether there is a credible fear of persecution, which is a prerequisite for pursuing an asylum claim. The United States government has recently enacted changes that make it more difficult for asylum seekers to receive positive, credible, and reasonable fear determinations. Asylum seekers, like other people in other legal proceedings, must prove their cases with evidence. There are generally two forms of evidence. The first type of evidence is testimony or statements by people who have knowledge of relevant events. For example, in asylum cases, the individuals seeking asylum always present their testimony, their statements about what happened in their home countries, what caused them to leave, and why they are afraid to return. The second kind of evidence is documentary evidence, which can consist of police reports, letters or notes, or even audio recordings or voicemail messages of threats to the asylum seeker, or news articles documenting threatening events or individuals connected to the asylum seeker's case. In the past, it was well understood that most asylum seekers, at the time they arrive at the border, will likely have no documents or materials to support their stories. This is because they often have fled their homes in terror, merely hoping to escape with their lives. They normally have not had sufficient time or resources to gather documentary evidence in support of their asylum claims. The new changes place much more emphasis on requiring asylum seekers to prove that they have credible stories at the time of their fear interviews. This means that asylum seekers must try harder to gather corroborating evidence of their claims, or provide much more convincing and persuasive testimony in the absence of any independent, corroborating evidence. For that reason, those asylum seekers who can use qualified immigration lawyers to assist in the preparation of their case prior to the credible or reasonable fear interview will normally have greater odds of success at their interviews. Placement in detention or release. Depending on circumstances, the asylum seeker may be held in immigration detention or released under certain conditions, such as wearing an ankle monitor, while their case is being processed. As of the end of 2023, the Biden administration has instituted a catch-release process. People who cross the southern border illegally are being processed and released to cities across the USA. There is no detention notice to appear, NTA. If the person is not immediately deported, they receive a notice to appear, which specifies the date and location for a hearing before an immigration judge. When you are released, you need to keep following your case. You still have no status in America. This is important to remember. Asylum proceedings. The individual appears before an immigration judge to present their case for asylum. Legal representation is crucial during this process. The takeaway from this episode is that, when you cross the border and are released after being processed, you still have no status. You need to follow your case and build your case so that you can get a favorable outcome. Being released is just the beginning. Thank you for watching this week's episode. I hope the insights shared in this video have enhanced your understanding of the asylum process. Do you have questions about the asylum process? Do you have questions about green cards based on approved asylum? Do you have questions about the citizenship application process based on approved asylum? Or have you recently received asylum and you have advice to share? I encourage you to email me or share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more answers to your questions about the asylum process. Thank you for watching, family.